Hello and welcome. My name is Alexis. I'm an Obsidian enthusiast and I'm also the creator of the Journey plugin for Obsidian. Today I want to share with you something amazing and huge that I've discovered. And what I've discovered is an ancient code inside of Obsidian that I've discovered this week with the help of a superhero and a supervillain. And why should you bother? This will, first of all, I think it's a fantastic journey I want to show you. And it will help you, this will help you write your best work. Hands down, listen to me, this will help you write your best books. It will help you come up with your best ideas and with your best products, whatever you're working on. This is it. And so before we dive in, though, I want to give you a heads up. This is seriously not for the faint of heart. This is a journey that won't be easy. In fact, it will be really, really hard, especially for me, because I will share some personal things, personal experiences, and this also means that this video is a little more raw and unpolished, and this will also take a little bit longer than my usual videos, so about 20 minutes maybe. This is a longer story, and there will be quite a few highs, and there will be really, really low lows. So just so you know what we're embarking on. So let's begin. It's been a cold and dark winter for me, and I've been struggling quite a bit, and especially I've been struggling with and in my relationship. Recently, my partner and we had a big fight, and it was so bad that I'm currently staying at a friend's place. So that's where I'm at right now, and it was really difficult. It still is. I haven't eaten much. I haven't slept much. That's also why I'll be a little bit over the top maybe, but like it's been a struggle, and I'm here to figure out what to do next and how I'm feeling in the first place. I've also struggled, definitely in the last few months. I've struggled with work a lot. I've always had problems with work. It's been always difficult for me for several reasons. Work and money have always felt very existential, much more than they should, and because of that, very specifically lately, I've been very anxious while I'm working. I feel like I feel like I'm wrong a lot, and I feel often that I'm out of place, or not where I'm good, or like I felt very like a fish out of water, and also I don't think I know how to manage work stress well. So currently there's a lot going on. With all of that said, as I've been here at my friend's place, yesterday I watched an episode of WandaVision, right? I was like, hey, there's so much stuff going on, work and relationship. I need to take a break. I watched this episode of WandaVision, and while it's on my screen, couldn't really fully concentrate for the reasons I told you. And I drifted in and out, and this whole superhero, supervillain thing that I'm watching there sort of got me thinking and wondering. So just a fun little thought, like, hey, what if I were a superhero? Like, who would that be? What would be my superhero's powers, and what would be my superhero's name, right? And I was like, wow, that's a fun thing to sort of think about. And so I came up with, then I was like, yeah, if I were a superhero, or if there was a superhero like me, his superpowers would be enthusiasm, right? So his superpower would be the fact that he can like get really excited about anything, really, and not only get himself excited about anything, but a lot of other people, right? Get enthusiastic about others. He's that kind of superhero that explores and tries things out, and like you can give this superhero, you can give me anything, like you can give me this coaster. I have a coaster here, and I can absolutely like love this thing and like want to know and like get really excited about this. You know, you see these videos that I'm doing. I think a lot of you resonate with me, not because I'm like the best writer of atomic notes, but I think, you know, there's this enthusiasm. So this superhero's strength, you know, you find it in my Obsidian plugins, the, you know, Obsidian itself, how much I love it. And, you know, I got hundreds of things that I'm excited about. And this superhero part of me wants to make the world a better place. This part of me is really like out and really wants to share, right? And the name of this superhero is Enthusiasmo, which I think is really, really fitting. Enthusiasmo is my superhero, if I were a superhero. And then I thought, wait, hold on a minute. Well, a superhero needs a supervillain, right? So I was like, well, what if I were a supervillain? Who would that be, right? What would that superpower be, and what would that name be? And so I thought about that a lot, and so I came up with this. So if I were a supervillain, this supervillain's power would be would be dissociation. And dissociation means that he's the one that destroys by disconnecting, by just disappearing. It's different than being invisible. He's the one that creates chaos and disarray from literally just like leaving nothing, like creating black holes basically. And he's the one that checks out during a conversation. He's the one who maybe, you know, aborts or abandons relationships with friends when he's in pain. He just disappears. He just disappears. He's not there. He's the one that, you know, abandons projects or struggle. Yeah, when he disappears, and yet he is a supervillain, right? He's in pain, so he is dangerous, and he's out for blood, and he's definitely out for Enthusiasmo's blood, right? So this supervillain's name is Dissociation Boy. And that's those two like thought experiment, right? And I realized, yeah, they're constantly fighting. So let's say if this is Enthusiasmo, like a little thing here, and this is Dissociation Boy, right? They're constantly like fighting. Like Enthusiasmo, you know, has a ray of enthusiasm, and he shoots that at Dissociation Boy. But as he's shooting, Dissociation Boy just disappears, right? So like he can't do anything, and then, you know, maybe Dissociation Boy creeps up behind Enthusiasmo and like hurts him from the back because he can, you know, appear and disappear anywhere. And so like it's this epic battle all the time about who's in charge, and it's every day. I'm sure you can, you know, you have your own superheroes and supervillains, and we'll talk about that in a bit. So the eternal struggle will always be between this sort of creation and destruction, superhero, supervillains, blah blah. And as I'm thinking about that, I remember Lord of the Rings actually came to mind, right? So there's this epic battle, the struggle of man and hobbits and elves against the supervillain Sauron. And I remembered something specific that I want to show you that I think you may not know. In the books, in the actual Lord of the Rings books, there's a map inside the book of Middle-earth. And I'm going to open that here. I'm going to show you that. Check this out. So I remember this. Yeah, I thought always this map was so genius to add to a book because as you may or may not know, so basically you have two realms. You have on one hand the realm of the good people, the good people, right? And then you remember, right? Mordor is bottom right here, and Mordor is the place of the supervillain, right? Sauron. And so you have these two realms, these two areas where all the stories happen. And as you may know, if you remember, like the Hobbit, right? The story is that Bilbo Baggins starts in the Shire, and he journeys, right? He takes a journey up into Mordor, gets the ring, and goes back. He calls it there and back again, which I think is so funny. And just like all the stories, all the good stuff happens because there are these two poles, right? These two realms, Mordor and the human and elves and whatnot. And so I realized superheroes and supervillains need a battlefield. They need a place to fight. Like this epic struggle needs space to happen. And here we're coming closer to the ancient code of Obsidian. I was like, hey, hold on a minute. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the map, and I'm like, I've seen something like this recently. I realized I've been creating a map of my own world. I've been charting, I've been exploring, I've been growing, I've been adding, I've been building something very similar. And I want to show you something. So check this out. This is my graph view, as you probably know, right? And I realized that in this graph view, I have basically the two realms. There's the realm of enthusiasmo, and I'll go a little deeper into it. You see here on the right, it's like this is like the hub here, and then this whole section here on the right has a lot of attachments. You see a lot of blue dots, right? And there's some structure, and there's some this is the realm of enthusiasmo. Like there's only awesome topics. There's a lot of attachments. There's good vibes here. I'll zoom in a little bit. You see this whole thing here? I know for a fact there's just really good notes in there that feel light. And as you can tell maybe a little bit, there's a sort of natural order here, right? You have these sort of cities and there's the center. This is where enthusiasmo lives. And just to give you a few examples, there's one node here, for example, a total enthusiasmo node is called You're Amazing Eunice. It's like a battle cry for self-motivation. Basically it's saying, you are, a 1 in a billion gazillion event in all of time and space. And you're endlessly valuable to this world because of how you are, who you are, what you've experienced, right? It's a total enthusiasmal thing, right? And another good example, let me open this in the realm of enthusiasmo, which is now down here, is I am Mr. Bubbles, which is a video of me. This is something I used to do in New York for years. I was Mr. Bubbles, and I was doing giant bubbles on the rooftops of Brooklyn, and on the street, of course, as well. Let me show you. This is a video that I shot with a friend. I made these ginormous bubbles everywhere in Brooklyn for years. Obviously, this is definitely enthusiasmo material, right? And then. I want to show you actually the other side. I want to show you the realm of Dissociation Boy. And the realm of Dissociation Boy, let me reload this a little bit. Sometimes it doesn't render so well. Well, sort of. Well, okay. I think we can. The realm of Dissociation Boy, right, is everything that you see here. You see, and basically where you see a lot of the orange dots, the tags. This place is chaotic. I think just you can already tell, right? It's chaotic. There's a lot of thinky notes. There's a lot of very abstract thinking and topics that are really difficult. I can tell you this. In the realm of Dissociation Boy, let me reload this one more time because it's showing really weirdly. This is all messy. This is really like chaos. This is basically Sauron's realm in relation to the map. And it's so interesting because there's a lot of tags, there's a lot of effort, there's a lot of difficult topics here. In fact, one of the most difficult topics is, for example, adult ADHD. It's a condition, it's a thing that I learned about and have a story with in the last year. Absolutely changed my life. Really, really difficult topic. There is, partnership, as I was mentioning. There's some really difficult topics there. There's a whole section that doesn't bubble up so much, but is about the death of my mom, who passed away a few years back, and like there's a lot of pain here in this section, as you can imagine. And I realized that the best stories, the best struggles need a place, and Obsidian helps me create that map, that battlefield for my superhero and my supervillain to fight, right? So the realm of Dissociation boy, traumatic experiences, like really difficult depression, really difficult topics are over here. And then on the right, really fun and exciting and cool stuff. And I realized Obsidian is the arena. And it is the world that all of this takes place in. Obsidian, this is where you will write your best stories. This will be where you write your best books, because the best of what you have will always be a journey between your exciting places here and the mess and the difficult part. So a good story always has a hero, and usually also a villain. And even in nonfiction, I think this is so interesting, right? I'm not saying you have to write a novel. In fact, I think a lot of this is totally applicable to nonfiction. If you're writing a blog post, there has to be something there from both of these parts. Because the best stories will be the result of your own fight between, your superhero and your supervillain. And so this is the secret code that your vault is not just your second brain. Obsidian is not just your second brain. It's also a map to your heart. And I would say to your soul. What you're seeing here is the arena for the supervillain and the superhero to be in their epic struggle for life, really, right? And I think that's so profound and so beautiful and important. So then I realized, because what I'm telling you here, we're talking about epic struggles, and the stakes are high. We're talking about this is why this whole thing, why writing is so hard, because this is so hard. All the books and all the articles and all of, like, none of the notes are writing themselves. And I'm sure you've noticed that they're like the books aren't plopping out automatically here. Nothing is writing itself here. This stuff is hard, creating this map, putting in the work, putting in the butt in seat time, and not just butt in seat time, but actually looking at the difficult stuff as well as the fun stuff. Like, really exploring is hard, and because it's hard, we will spend more time fiddling with our fucking themes and installing stupid fucking plugins, right? And tweaking our Zettelkasten templates over and over again, because this is hard. Because when you open Obsidian and you're doing this work and you're doing this, what you're really doing is you're stepping into the arena. You step into the two realms of your superhero and your supervillain, and basically when you write a good note, you're fighting. And when you connect two worlds, when you create a connection between two notes, you're fighting. And when you publish something that is good, right, is a book, for example, then you're fighting because you're reliving a difficult journey. So again, I want to just make sure that you hear me. This stuff is really hard, and this is heartfelt that I say this is hard. And Ray Bradbury said, actually, there's a quote from him that I love, that describes writing and why this is hard. He says, "Every morning I jump out of bed and step on a landmine. The landmine is me. After the explosion, I spent the rest of my day putting the pieces together. Yeah. No one wants to say this out loud. No one wants to tell you this is hard, because hard doesn't sell software. It doesn't sell subscriptions. It doesn't sell masterclass courses. Bullshit. It's hard to embrace both, your good and your bad, and it's hard to embrace your mess. And it does take time, but it's so worth it. And I think I think you get why this is so worth it, because I would say the other way. If you're not struggling with writing and Obsidian and getting cool stuff out, I think your shit is weak and is probably boring and is like, no one needs it. You don't need it. If you're not going to that heart, the core struggle, you haven't done the work. You haven't stepped into the arena yet. And that's why I want to invite you to join me in the arena. I want you to know that you're not alone with this. First and foremost, you're not alone mapping your realms, and you're not alone, going on your adventures, and you're not alone when your superhero fights your supervillain. We're in this together, and I want you, if you've been on the sidelines, I want you to step into the arena. I want you to step in, and if you do that, then we'll fight the good fight together, and we'll fight this fight side by side, and have our stories to tell. So, thank you. First of all, thank you so much for listening here. This was a lot, obviously. I have a question for you. I have a challenge for you. I want to challenge you to find your superhero and your supervillain and your realms. So my question to you is, if you were a superhero, which you are, what would be their superpower, and what's their name, and what's their story? And if you were an evil villain, a supervillain, which you are, which you know that you are as well, what would be your superpower, and what would be the name? And the third question is, what's the world? In what world do these two live in? What are the realms? And use Obsidian to discover that, right? I only discovered it by looking at it, by seeing, the mess, the crazy town mess here on the left with all the tags, and it's really all really heady and really full of effort. And then I realized, here, this is where the lightness comes in, and this is, look into what's the topology of your vault, and what does it tell you? And I would love for you to answer me these questions: superhero, supervillain. What are their superpowers? What are their story? What are their names? And what world do they live in? Who are you in the first place? Tell me. I want you to introduce yourself and write a comment on the Obsidian forum. I will post a link below. Please comment in the forum, not here on YouTube, because I think the forum is a better place. I can't wait to hear from you, and want to hear about you and your stories, really. So I'm looking forward to reading that, and thank you so much for watching. I know